Alright, as I said in my previous video, this is my second weed eater. It has a problem with the clutch that's, for some reason, it just stays engaged. So I'm going to take it apart to try to check it out and see how to free it up. As always, welcome to Everyday Journey. Let's get started on this thing and see what we got to do. First thing we're going to do is disconnect the motor from the shaft so that I can actually take apart the housing here. These root screws and stuff may be a bit rusty, maybe an issue getting them off of here. So just try whatever you have to. These are torque bits, torque screws. Let's see if this is another. Yeah, I was gonna say it's normally got those screws I just taken apart really didn't have to come off of there. Those are for the handle. This has got one at the bottom that tightens the housing onto here, and it's got one just above it that actually should, I'll have to go through it and see and make sure, but it should be the one that goes through the tube that contains the shaft. Yeah, it's a short screw, and all it does is keeps this from twisting on the shaft some. It lines it up properly. Let me put these back in the handle so I don't lose them, because I didn't need to take those off. Okay, let's go ahead and pull our cover off the carburetor. Well, actually this one's got it to where yeah, the cover is mounted. Now the mount screws for the carburetor go through the cover, so I'm not going to worry about that. Let me see if I can just disconnect this throttle linkage. Get our needle nose pliers out here and help me along with this. This one's only got one hole in the throttle linkage, so it's not really a big problem. Just if you're doing another weed eater, make sure that you take note of which hole that throttle linkage came out of. So, all right. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove this housing, remove this from the shaft. And it should just kind of twist it a little bit and pull at the same time, and the whole engine should come right off. There we go. Try not to do that. One of the two screws I first took off there actually had a nut that went on the other side. Make sure you don't lose that. So, for the moment, I'm just going to set this aside, leave it connected to the wiring, because this doesn't have some of them have a little disconnect for the kill switch that you can just disconnect as you're taking it apart, so that you don't have to actually undo the wire anywhere. Just to show you the safer way to do this, at this point, probably should have even done it before I started, we need to disconnect the spark plug, just so that somewhere in the process this doesn't actually start. I'm just prying and pulling up on that. So that's disconnected, shouldn't start on me. It's got a few screws here at the back that are connecting the exhaust cover to the housing, and it will probably go be what allows me to take off the housing, the red part here in the front. Let's look for another screw. There's probably another one here somewhere, and I don't see one, so maybe that's got it. Oh yeah, okay, we got screws here in the front too. Connect the housing. These are a little bit shorter, plus they have machine thread on them. And that's one thing you can, it's kind of helpful in discerning where your screws and stuff go. The other ones that I took off first, they have a real coarse thread on them. So you know that they're going into plastic. These here have a real fine thread on them, and so they're machined. They're actually going into the metal here on the engine. I think we got another screw. Oh yeah, we got 2 screws down here at the bottom. These are holding the gas tank on to the housing, so we need to take those out. And we're going to keep those together. So now the housing should, the gas tank comes off, the housing should come out. There we go. And the thing's pretty dirty inside. You see that? Nasty. But it looks like it's holding up well. So I'm not going to bother cleaning it up right now, because I don't think it's going to affect it. Right now, this is my problem. And I'm going to have to show you this. This one had the clutch blow out on me. It just completely exploded. This is a little a clutch housing, I guess you would say. And the clutch actually spreads out against this and causes this to turn the drive shaft. So centrifugal force makes the clutch spread out. And you can't even see it right here, but I'm about to move the camera anyway. Makes it spread out and grab this piece and then turn your drive shaft. But it's not doing it. I'll show you what it did here in a second. Alright, you guys zoomed in here a bit. If you can see this, and I think you can, this is actually my clutch. This is the housing that the clutch is supposed to contain. It slid up and allowed the clutch to come out from underneath it. So I have to pull this housing off the top and figure out why that's doing that. It's an Allen screw, goes down through the center. I forgot about that one. I think I'd be familiar with this after the clutch went and blew up on me before. There we go. So we'll unscrew this, take this housing off, see if it needs to be replaced. Hopefully it doesn't. Figure out why this is happening this way, because it shouldn't do this. Of course, at the time I was doing this, I was using one of those expanded the expanded attachments that goes on there. I think Ryobi makes it, and it was actually for a hedge trimmer. So it looks like the clutch assembly all here just kind of, maybe one of the springs came loose and caused it to slide down where it shouldn't have. I've got a little bit of damage to the fans here, but I don't think it's enough to worry about. It looks like it's actually on both sides evenly, so it actually works out alright, because that'll keep it balanced. So yeah, I mean, everything looks to be okay. Nothing looks damaged here. My only issue may be is that the springs may not be holding properly. We'll see how that goes in a second. See if I can even get these things attached again. I'm going to go ahead and pull this piece off here. It just unscrews off the crankshaft, I guess. I'm going to attempt to just use pliers and see if that works. Now, one thing you got to be careful of is you don't want to break anything here. These fins are all on here to keep this all cool, and at the same time they keep it all balanced. So if you got to grab onto this in any way, do like I'm doing and actually grip it where the two magnets are. Or maybe it's just one magnet is that produces your spark, or helps produce your spark. This is one of the thicker places here to grab it. If you have to, this is a good place to grab it. We'll go ahead and take our adjustable wrench here, and this part of this clutch is actually, it's got an arrow on there and it says off. So turn it in that direction. There we go. And it just unscrews off. And this has got a lip on the top side of it here. Is why I want to take this off, because I actually want to slide that clutch, attach the springs and slide that clutch pieces over the other side. So let's see how we get these springs in here. Alright. Actually, it doesn't seem like there's enough tension here to hold it. So I think I may have overstressed the springs, because this should stay on here. You see right there, the spring just came out whenever I let this loose. This should stay on there, so I'm going to try to bend the springs a little bit, give it a little more tension. Of course, if they've already bent once, they'll do it again, I'm sure. But I think it's about time for another weed eater anyway. So we'll just see what I can do to repair this one first. I should have kept the old pieces I used to have for it. Then I could have probably reused those springs if they didn't get all damaged. Yeah, I think the only way these are going to hold is if I actually bend these parts, these two parts here in just a little bit. Make up a little bit of that extra space. Wow. I'm just going to squeeze these together. That side looked like it bent some, so we'll go move on to this side. There we go. I don't need to squeeze them that much, just enough to give it a little more tension. Like I said though, if this happened once, it will probably happen again. That's my son up there trying to get me to come upstairs. Down in the garage right now, and he can't stand it. Not giving my attention to him. Still fighting with this thing. Since I bent these, I think they're going to be a little bit of a pain. Yeah, well, that went pretty easy. I could have bent it back out though, so we'll see what happens with it. You can't even see it, can you? Alright, springs are in. Stretch it over this part that holds it all on the drive shaft. There we go. Spin it back on. Go ahead and grip onto this again because it's going to get tight in a second. And help if we turn it the correct way. There are probably torque specs to this, and I'm not doing it to torque specs. So the other thing we need to check about is check and see if there's any damage to this clutch housing, because this came loose. It could have, in my last one, it just completely exploded out. So I don't think I have it anymore to show it to you, but make sure that this has no damage on it, and then put it back on there. So we'll tighten it down. Let's see, maybe I've got weed eater number 2 fixed. You can go back to having a backup. Okay, time to reverse our order here, start putting stuff back together. Putting this housing back on. Make sure your spark plug cable pokes up through this little plastic. It's supposed to slide up through this little gap. Before I even do that, though, I've got a little place here. You can barely see it, but these are the 2 wires that go up to my cutoff switch, my kill switch, and it looks like there's a little protective, sleeve over this. It looks like it's worn through that. Probably hasn't worn through the wires yet, but worn through the protective sleeve. I'm going to go ahead and cover that with some tape. Just use some electrical tape here, just to make sure, because if it's shorting out and it's shorting it out, it's going to keep your engine stalled. You won't be able to use your weed eater because it thinks that you've got the kill switch set down all the time. So this will be a little bit of, hopefully, protection from that happening in the future, so I won't have to disassemble all this again and diagnose it at the same time, because that's sometimes more of the problem. It takes you a while to actually figure out what the problem is. So we got that together. Make sure our cable is going down through that little gap. Probably right in front of the camera, aren't I? Let's see if we can zoom back out on this. Ah, there we go. Ow. Okay. Everything's lined up on this side. Let's go ahead and put our fuel tank back on this side. There's 2 screws. Mount that in place. Go ahead and put our machine screws back through the front here. Like I said, they're going to be going through and actually attaching to metal. So you can look down in the holes and see if there's metal for them to attach to. There is. That's probably where they go. Best idea is to get these things started first. Oh no, I forgot one little thing here. I'll take it back apart. I see it sitting here. It's a little washer that was part of the clutch. So it happens. Best that I saw it before I got it back running again. because that would have not worked out well. So, find our little Allen wrench here. There we go. And what this did is it went on top right here just to kind of give some separation between this clutch housing, I guess it is, clutch plate maybe, give some separation between those. So we had to make sure that goes back on. Luckily it was quick. Just putting this back together now. Problems, get a level. Put on the gas. Those were the machine screws. Now I'm putting on the 2 screws that hold on the gas tank, and all that's plastic. Now I need to put on the screws that hold the housing on. Well, hold the housing to this back of exhaust cover. Of course, it also has the starting. Also has the starting reel there that you pull the pull string to get it started. This one's actually a little different. It has it in the back versus in the front. Of course, this weed eater is a little bit different too, because it also has this opposite spin on the drive shaft. So alright, put the drive shaft in, or the weed eater shaft. Just kind of wiggle it back and forth until the actual drive shaft goes all the way into that housing that we were just messing with. You gotta keep pushing it in until this thing gets seated all the way down. You can see the hole that's there. If you need to, you can turn the head of the weed eater some. That should help. I'll put this on the floor, push down on it some. that didn't help for nothing, did it? Ah, just went into place. So we'll put our positioning screw there, position the whole weed eater shaft where it needs to be. And it kind of locks it in too, keeps it from coming out in case that this other bolt came loose. And then we'll tighten down our last screw here that actually clamps down on it. Screw head on one side, bolt with a locking bolt on the other side. What did I tell you?
What?
I will be up there shortly.
No, when are we going to the pool?
That's why I said I will be up there shortly. Well, you know what? This thing's a flathead also, so I'm going to use the flathead to tighten it down good. But not that size flathead. Let's try our look at this one. Alright, that should be nice and tight. Last thing, hook up our throttle linkage. You see it right here? Yeah, we just took that back in. When we pull the trigger, it'll give it some gas. There we go. Let's test it out, see if it works. Oh. Yeah, I think I got fuel in here still. Let's give it a go. I just saw what I forgot. And you would too. This spark plug cable needs to be reattached or else it's not doing anything. There we go. And let's see what happens. Alright, everything seems to work. Now when I let off the throttle, the head actually stops turning, so the clutch is doing what it's supposed to now. Let's hope for the best, and maybe it'll stay that way. Appreciate you watching. Tune into my other videos, subscribe, and leave any comments if you like. I'm open to all kinds of healthy criticism. You guys don't have to get all crazy. Just keep it simple and keep it nice. Keep a good community here. Appreciate you guys watching. Out.